Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. You know what happens to one of you happens to all of you. Come here, give me your finger, little kid. Um, we got Jordan Christensen on the podcast.
I'm just trying to be a good dad or protect my kids. Or I forget exactly the line that he says, but
because it was so unforgettable. And we got Cameron Mickle on the podcast.
We're just putting them to sleep until we have a better, more sustainable world.
They didn't suffer. and we've got Nick on the podcast.
Well, there's 7. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Days of the week. Like kids could sing this. Guys, today we're talking about what happened to Monday.
What did happen to Monday?
Well, we're talking about it on Wednesday, so
Oh my gosh.
Tuesday happened. So this movie came out in 2017. I thought this was a show, which is why I was about to start it, and then I thought it was a TV show, and I was like, I'm not really interested in this. And then Jordan reminded me that it's actually just a movie, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'll go back to watching it then. You want to read the plot synopsis? Do we still read it? Anyway, in a world where families are limited to one child due to overpopulation, a set of identical septuplets, I mean 7, for those of you that didn't know. Interesting fact, 6 is tuplets. I think that's a fucking name. Okay, must avoid being put by a long sleep by the government and dangerous infighting while they try to find what happened to one of their own. So, guys, this movie, it stars Noomi Rapace. Face. Wait, that can't be right. Oh wait, no, Rapace. I'm sorry.
Face. What?
Rapace. A very unfortunate.
Could not have butchered that any worse.
Noomi.
Yeah, you're not doing her justice. She was so good in this.
she was great.
Oh, and then I'm not done reading the cast. It also stars Noomi Rapace, and also starring Noomi Rapace.
Oh my God.
7 times
Noomi
over.
Rapace. And it's got Glenn Close, Willem Dafoe, Marwan.
Glenn Close plays such a good, Cruella de Vil. Like, I love when she plays an evil villain.
I like her more as a male pirate, I honestly I like
From
her
Hook.
Never forget that was Glenn Close they put in the boo box. I'll never forget that.
Yeah. That terrified me as a kid.
Yeah.
Dropping scorpions.
Terrified me that I didn't recognize Glenn Close. That's pretty convincing. So that's some makeup you got there. I also don't know what Steven Spielberg's like. I would love to know the story behind that. It's like, well, I have a bunch of cutthroat pirates and there's no female supports. You want to be a pirate? I want to know the story behind that, because anyway, today we're talking about what happened to Monday, guys. This dystopian movie. Let's hear about it. What was it like watching it for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast? Why don't you start us off, Nick?
Well, I never heard about this before Jordan had texted me, so I watched it 3 times in a row just to make sure I got it. No, but it was actually, the first time I watched it, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of dozed off. That's kind of why I had to watch it a couple more times. But at the second time, I actually paid a little bit more attention, and I would say it was pretty interesting. So I did like it. It was surprising. And it does get you thinking, because they may not be so far off. It's not saying it's ever probably going to happen in our lifetime, but it's definitely one of those possible.
Well, maybe not here in America. It already happened in China.
Yeah, it already happened in China.
Yeah, well, right. Globally.
Yeah.
But it is definitely one of those, distinct possibilities. So it does get you thinking quite a bit. But I'm surprised, man, nobody put up a fight to just give up their children. I mean, they either hid them or they gave them up. There was no kind of in between. Nobody just kind of like fought for that. Nobody cared.
Well, keep in mind, they were also being told that they're just going to sleep. So maybe you just believe that.
No one's tracking that. They're just like, oh, they're just going to sleep. No one's like, let me see my children.
Yeah, they just see smokestacks coming out of the building, and they're like, I'm sure that's
like, where are they?
Yeah.
They're just having a little barbecue with them before they put them to sleep.
You're like, what does that smell? The scientists are at it again, man. It smells like a barbecue.
Problem is not the overcrowding. It's that we are trusting our government with our kids and not asking questions. Like, here you go.
Whoa, Nick, easy. Trust your leaders, trust your overlords. Okay. Jeez.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more. So I watched this. I'll get into. I just watched this for the first time. Like I said, I thought for some reason it was a show, or I maybe it was just the TVMA that throws me off, because when I see that, sometimes I'm like, oh, it's like it's if it's not PG-13,
Oh,
PG or R,
or
and maybe
it's
I just
yeah,
assumed it was a TV series, and so I was like, don't really want to watch a whole season. But I'm actually kind of glad it was just a movie, because yeah, like I don't think I would have enjoyed a whole series, because he would have bloated. It felt nice, because even
yeah,
then this movie
very
felt kind of long. It was 2 hours and 3 minutes. I feel like you could have either tightened it down 15 minutes, sped something
Where?
up.
Where?
yeah. I
Where
felt like it flew,
I
but
don't know, maybe there was too much days of
but
the week, because to be honest, at the end of it I was like, I don't know which day of the week I'm looking at, but um
So wouldn't
anyway.
that mean maybe you need more time with these characters?
No, just choose like two of your favorite days of the week. So mine would be like Friday and Saturday. Because who gives
No,
a
then you
freak
can't tell
about
the whole
Monday? That's
story.
the whole
No, no,
problem about this
you
movie
can't
is
cut out
no one
5 days.
cares about Monday. Everyone would have been like, yeah, that's fine. She can go missing. She lived a double life. It's her fault for going missing. Anyway, Cameron, what about you, man? What was it like watching it for the first time, rewatching it for the podcast?
Yeah, watching for the pod was my first time. Watched it with Jordan, and Tatiana, and I was really surprised that just I thought the concept was super good, and I was asking Jordan like what it's kind of like, and he's like, "Well, I can't tell you because it'll kind of spoil it." Which it did remind me a lot of Prestige, just in the fact of like kind of living that double life with like a partner and having to pretend to be one person, which I thought was just really clever. Um, And unlike Ty, I actually thought it was very like clean and like concise. Like I was really glad. I felt like they trimmed a lot of fat on, because I feel like you could have easily spent like 30, 40 minutes of showing the day-to-day life of what it was like for them, but they just kind of got straight to the like the conflict, which I really appreciated, because I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it would have been like maybe cool here or there to see their day in the life, but it's like, but we're here for like essentially the plot and like the progression of it. And so I thought that was really fun. And just overall, I was like, I just left it. I was like, wow, that might be like top 200 for me. I thought it was like super fun.
What?
I just think it's like a
Top, what'd you say? Top 200?
yeah.
I'm
Like
surprised.
personally, and because I just think it's like a really good
Did you
entertainment.
like In Time with Justin Timberlake?
yes,
Yeah,
I liked In Time.
and time is good. Ty's just a hater.
I
Um,
am a hater.
and so it's just also I feel like not a lot of people have seen it, so it's fun to kind of recommend to others. So
Yeah.
yeah, good.
And again, I not conceptually. I like the idea of In Time. I like the idea of what happened to Monday. Well, I definitely like this movie more than In Time. I just wanted that to be clear, because I think the
So this
premise
movie
is
isn't
clever.
about in time.
Yeah. How about you, Jordan? What was like watching it for the podcast and rewatching it?
So yes, I was the first one to watch it, and I've been pushing it on everybody. I watched it with mom, and then I watched it with my wife and Cameron, and I love this movie so much. And
Well, you
I,
watched it with mom?
yeah, I
Yeah,
watched
see,
it
I'm
with
with
my
you,
mom.
Nick. I would not want to watch this
Like
with mom.
Bit Angeled or what?
Yeah, yeah, we watched it edited.
What?
And
So you cut out a lot of the movie.
but we loved it, and I love it. And like Cameron, I love In Time. I love Equilibrium. I just love like the sci-fi dystopia futures where it's like the government is like
Equilibrium is
overbearing.
very apt. It's very much feels like Equilibrium.
Yeah.
Minority Report, Equilibrium.
And I really like this girl. I still want to see her series, The Dragon
Noomi
Tattoo.
Rapace.
Yeah, she's because I really enjoyed her in Jack Ryan season 2. And then I want to see her dragon.
She's
The
in
girl,
Prometheus. That was a
I liked
good
her in
vehicle.
Prometheus, and then she is in the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the original foreign film. So I really want
Oh,
to watch those 3 movies. But anyways, I think she's so great, and I love all her little tiny details to play each different character. Like Saturday
yeah,
was
like
so
being
great.
a blonde, for example.
I thought there was more to it than that. I thought that she
Oh, yeah,
had
I know.
fun.
I'm teasing.
I
It
just
is funny though. It's so bad because all I kept thinking about is Tropic Thunder when Jack Black plays like all the different characters in the family, mocking the Nutty Professor with
oh
Eddie
yeah.
Murphy. He's like, "Grandma, ew!" Like someone belches or something. It made me think of that. Just like everyone's just farting
Well,
around the
he's making
table.
fun of the comedies like Eddie Murphy.
No, I know the Nutty Professor. I just said
Yeah.
that, but anyway, this did make it just made me
I see
think
what
of
you're
that, and
saying.
it's hard to get that image out of your head. All I could think of is Grandma. Ew.
Well, usually what's surprising is usually I get bothered by people playing multiple characters because I can notice they're like their eye lines off or they're not quite looking at each other. There was only a few moments in this one, but I actually was like really impressed. how well it all played out with so many of herself. Personally,
It's like it turns out she was in multiple places. If it's just too confusing to watch them all.
yeah,
Yeah,
I just thought it was great. I thought she did a
yeah,
great job.
yeah. It's pretty ambitious, you know. Like I'm trying to think of any other movie that had a single, like how, like what's the most, right? Like I was thinking of Multiplicity was pretty close with 3 or 4
Oh,
Michael
good point.
Keatons in a
Yeah,
shot. Is this the movie that set a record? Like I almost think that would be an interesting fact, right? Although it's almost not fair because I'm thinking of like 500 Days of Summer. There's like 200 Zoe Deschanel's on the bus, but it's like, but
that
not
was
like
for a split second. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's just like a copy paste or whatever. But like this one feels almost like, yeah, pretty ambitious for
Well, and
7.
playing different people so that because she's not the same person. It's one thing to just duplicate
That's a good
somebody.
point. Yeah, it wasn't like an artistic demonstration. It was like she's semi or septuplet twin sister. Yeah. Yeah, I would be interested to know if that's a record holder or not. The Academy Award goes to What Happened to Monday to Noomi Watts, and Best Supporting Actress goes to Noomi Rapace, and so does Best Supporting. Anyway, she's playing all the parts.
And I love any movie that William Dafoe makes a cameo in. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And American
Yeah,
Psycho.
it's funny
I
when
wish
I was
we had
watching this
more,
movie,
man.
I was like, Willem Dafoe is playing like an unusually nice dad, and then like as soon as the daughter comes home with an injury, I'm like, oh, okay, there you go. Like I knew they had to use Willem Dafoe. I was like, that's the kind of father I would expect him to be in a movie. Just like, now hold still, this is gonna hurt.
He was the grandfather, though.
That's right. He was the grandfather. Thank you for
The
clarifying that.
grandfather.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's
He
not
wasn't
the
the dad.
parents. Yeah,
There is
thank
no
you.
dad. Remember, we don't know the dad, and the mom died while giving birth to all those kids.
Yeah, yeah, they couldn't
Maybe he
save the
heard
mama.
But we
seven
needed
kids.
more Willem Dafoe.
Maybe maybe it
It's
was.
good.
See, I can see Nick hearing 7 kids. I'm out.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Yeah, there was something about. I'm gonna look at my notes, but like, what happened to Willem Dafoe in this movie? Did he
He just
disappear? What
disappeared.
happened to him?
He just dies. You assume he dies because it's
Yeah, you
30 years
assume.
later. And he's
Yeah.
already, and he was a grandfather then. So,
Right. But see, that was, I don't know.
but they don't explain that. See,
I
that's
kind
pretty
of wanted
cool.
him to like do one last demonstration to save the girls or
Yeah,
something, you
that would have
know,
been cool.
like a suicide bombing thing, kind of
But
like
Ty,
what we
maybe it was
saw.
in the
Ty, almost
3-hour cut,
yeah,
and you're
almost
like,
maybe you want a little more, Ty.
I'm
See?
just saying, you
You do
have
want
6
more.
Noomi characters.
Every
Why
single
can't
complaint
7
that Ty
Noomi characters?
has would be benefited by a longer
No, there
film.
should have been like
Yeah.
a mini series. It should have been like a 4 episode little mini series. I would have dig that hour episode each. 4 hours, you cover double the space, double the stuff.
I
More
mean,
Willem.
yeah, because you're right in the fact that like it is odd, right, Nick? You just watch like this one mother getting her child torn away from her, and you think it would be like, oh, why aren't more people doing stuff? But like this, if you ever watch One Child Nation documentary on Amazon Prime, it's gut wrenching, and you're like, it happened, and somehow people just go along with it. It's my job, I'm just carrying out orders, and even interviewing people after the fact, they're all like, yeah, I was just doing my job, and you're just like so heartless. Anyway, it's crazy, but yeah, you're right. This movie almost doesn't. It's like breakneck speed, where it's like this mother's getting torn away from her child, or and you're like, somebody do something, and it's like, yeah, this is life, and everyone's being told that everything's gonna be fine. And it's funny. I did call the twist though, unfortunately, like way too early on. So I almost wish that wasn't like a twist,
yeah,
but.
I didn't think it needed to be like a huge
I was pretty
reveal.
surprised.
Oh,
Were
okay.
you surprised, Cameron? Yeah. I guess I
might
just
have
don't
been. I don't
trust
remember.
any institution. Like I've seen I was just like, it's
I-
Soylent Green. They're feeding you people. Like, come on. Like I knew. Like anyone that
I
forces
thought you
their
were
child.
talking about the twist of like the fact that it was Monday that kind of sold them out.
Oh no. See,
I actually
good
didn't know
point.
that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Cameron's like, oh, I knew they were burning those big kids.
No, yeah.
I
Saw
would
that
just
from a
I would
mile
never
away.
I would never like just risk, because anytime they say anything regarding that, it's always like suspicious. Like, oh no, trust us, you'll be okay. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what if the world just never gets better? Do I just stay in cryo sleep for eternity? Nah, no thank you.
Yeah, I guess no, and that's a good point. Like, did I anticipate Monday being like the selfish one? I thought that was kind of actually I enjoyed that aspect of it. You're right.
Yeah, and I
Cameron. Like, as far
loved
as a movie,
her motivation. It was like she was pregnant and she wanted to have a family because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
no way
because
to live.
her family had become another step. It was no longer like her siblings were no longer her family. She had like her family was now like her child and her boy. that she
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to be with.
Mm.
Well, see, they could have just impregnated all the other days of the week on, they could all just go out pregnant, you know. And then if heaven forbid, if one of them loses a child, you just have to make sure they all lose their child. Sorry, getting dark.
Gosh.
I'm just saying you're gonna try, but she's like, no, I'm just gonna sell my sisters downriver. And she didn't think it would come back on her, but she's like, no, because I'm the one that rats him out. One of us gets to theoretically remain alive. I'm like, I think like one child policy, it's like it's kind of supposed to stop it before you become an adult, but they're like, no, go ahead, kill this person because they're siblings. Like I'm like, I think if you get away with it, don't you get like a free pass after a certain age? But it's like, no, never for the rest of your life. You're 30 years old, and I like Glenn Close, where she's like, this can't get out that I've been so irresponsible. She's like, that tough blitz. I love that. I thought that was really funny. She was like, people and then I love it
Do you want
too.
to get into favorite things?
Yeah. Let's get into favorite things. Cameron, hit us up. What are your 2 favorite things?
My first favorite thing is Glenn Close. I just think she's such a like her villain reminds me like a lot of Thanos. I just love a villain with a very like skewed view of reality and just morality. And so I love how she believes like, oh, I'm actually doing this for the greater good, even though she's fetching insane and murdering little children. See, they showed like killing a middle-aged child. I'm like, imagine the amount of babies that they just threw in there. I'm like, and they just cooked them alive. I'm like, they're probably cooking them multiple at a time. Like they're like, oh, let's just stack them up. I'm like, what is wrong with you guys? And so like just the amount of like justification that had to go on in her head to even after the fact be like, I still, it's like, you guys have no idea what I sacrificed. I was like, all right, lady. I really wish she would have got cooked alive, but I thought that would have just been. I thought, I thought it would have just
the
been
days of the week all would have
like, oh no, shit, it's okay. We'll just put you to sleep. So I thought
Would you
she
like a
was
taste
really,
of your own medicine, doctor?
I thought she was really fun. And my second favorite thing is I was surprised at how I think the movie, like especially the sisters, and this kind of goes back on like how well she acted. Because I was just so surprised that like Noomi did such a good job to where I cared about like each sister. Like when they would die, it was like, oh man, like it felt dark versus I was like, oh, there goes another like one of the sisters. Like you felt like they lost a sister, which I thought was really cool. And I appreciate it. Even if it's like some of the steps leading up to it was like kind of cheesy and like anticlimactic. It's like, I gotta go back in there. And I was like, why? Just like light the microwave and get out of there. Like, I don't know, things like that. But like
They won't stop.
But like I
Have to
was
stand
just
here
surprised.
well.
I think the emotional weight of a lot of the scenes hit, which I was very surprised at, because there was, like we mentioned, there wasn't a whole lot of buildup, but you could kind of tell like the relationship they had with each other just through like subtle like actions. So really impressed with that.
Yeah, that's good. Nick, how about you? 2 of your favorite things?
I would say my first favorite thing was the twist, the twist being the sister rat amount. I did not see that coming. I expected that they were definitely getting rid of all the people that you kind of figured, because they showed nothing as far as the cryo things. It's nothing. So you have to assume that if they're not showing that, they're disposing of them.
They're just going to sleep, Nick. Far away.
Yeah.
They're taking the dog to the farm.
Yeah, and obviously because
they
it's
didn't suffer.
However, with the sisters getting taken out one by one, I have the opposite view as Cameron over there. I think after the first one, I became pretty desensitized, and I'm just like, well, just get it over with, take them all out, and let's see who wins. Because I'm like, someone's gonna be left standing. Someone's gonna be left standing.
It reminded me of like Poseidon. Like you're like, oh,
Yeah,
there's like I
was
got the
thinking of
feeling like they're
Poseidon,
gonna eliminate a lot of the sisters. So I was trying to make bets on like who's like, are they gonna let the nerdy girl go? Are they gonna let the brave, like who's gonna be the final sister? The final girl. That's kind of
And I actually like that it actually had a surprising amount of action, good action
Yeah.
in it. I didn't think that looking at it and whatnot, but that was kind of surprising. And especially when that guy was drinking the milk and it shot him right in the mouth, and it just when she was in the apartment talking to the guy she worked with.
Yeah,
Wow.
I enjoyed the sequence where the agents come to the place. There's like two or
Yeah.
three of them, and they all fight. I really enjoyed that.
With
That was
That
fun.
with
poor
all due
guy.
respect, that poor guy, even though he was a
He was a
douchebag
poor
and a
guy.
weirdo,
He
homie
was
did
a
not
poor guy.
deserve to just get
No.
murdered by drinking.
No,
He was just like,
no.
I was
He's
like,
just collateral
oh,
damage, man. He's just got in the way and had to be taken out.
That's
yeah,
right.
that was wild.
I
So there was
also,
a couple
yeah,
little just surprises and good action and yeah, it was just overall decent watch.
for sure. How about you, Jordan? What are your two favorite things?
Yeah, I was really bummed I didn't get to watch it with Nick because I knew you would enjoy at least the action. Because there's some amazing scenes. I absolutely loved when she used the other guy's finger and like
Oh yeah.
I thought she was gonna stick the needle in her finger and then put his finger on hers. Luckily she just
Yeah.
like taped it instead.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
That
she's
made
just
me
gonna take
think
the
of
whole hand.
District 9 a little bit. Yeah, just like you have to have
Oh
the
yeah.
fingerprint, but like the alien hand
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
fire the gun,
She's
and then
just
you
taking
finally
the
get the
whole
gun, and then
hand.
she's just mowing people down.
Yeah, which was there's some amazing fight sequences and I just really appreciated the um what felt like practical effects and it felt more weight to some of those deaths as the action was executed very very well, which I enjoyed very much. And then I just love the overall story, along with um the main girl playing so many different roles and different parts, and I appreciate each little maybe subtle and not so subtle but different performances from each of her characters.
Mhm.
um and Saturday ended up being one of my favorites just because she really embodied really well what a Saturday girl might be, because she does nothing else but to have fun while all the other girls had to work.
That is
So
funny. I never factored that in. Yeah, it's like poor Monday has to be like going to work, dealing with everybody else that's not happy to see you. No,
Boo,
no wonder
Monday.
she.
And I
Boo.
loved how
Yeah,
they
boo
call like
Monday. No
Sun.
wonder she turned crazy. She's like, I
I,
want to
Like
know what a weekend
Thursday.
is.
Oh,
I
Thursday.
also love
Thursday.
how like Sunday was the one that was always like going to church and doing religious things, and then she was the one that like lost her faith, and they're like, "You can't lose your faith. You're the only one that goes to church."
yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, some clever stuff like that. I do agree. So yeah, mine, I really love the apartment fight where she takes like an iron and smashes it against the guy's head. Like, I mean, all that fighting was just manic and kind of cool because none of them, I don't think, were like experienced fighters. So a lot of it
No, they're
was like,
bankers.
yeah, right, but it was like believable fighting where it's like frantic throwing items and stuff. Like, it wasn't necessarily like, but the action was still
Choreography.
entertaining in a way where, yeah, it was frantic, like survival kind of fighting, which I enjoyed, and I think it was believable, and the throwing things
Realistic, you could
around.
say.
Yeah, realistic even. Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't realistic. I mean, other than the idea that
No,
there's
Jordan. Jordan just thinks it's funny how me and Grant always say it's so realistic.
Yeah,
it's
so
so
realistic.
it's so realistic.
Or I like
um
really realistic.
yeah, so I like that. And then there was one scene that actually made me laugh really, really hard because I actually thought it would kind of reminded me of like Live Die Repeat, the Edge of Tomorrow movie with Tom Cruise. Is the scene where somehow she's like navigating where she needs to go, and she's like, there's a dumpster outside, jump, and then she jumps and then
Oh,
lands like in an empty dumpster. I thought that's how she died. I thought she was gonna die right then and there, and I actually thought that would have been almost comical. I was like,
yeah.
oh, what if the sisters jumped out of the window and died? But it's revealed she's like she's like breathing. I don't know how she's not mangled and dead, but anyway, it was played for a joke still, but I almost think it almost would have been matched the humor, maybe just like letting her die jumping out of the window into the trash bin that was empty. But anyway, but it was fine. But I just enjoyed that gag. I thought that was really funny, telling someone to jump out, and you see the dumpster and you see her leaping out of the building, and it's so high and she's falling, and it's kind of like a thud, and then it just backs out and she's like, I just thought that was funny. That's a very
Yeah.
funny gag. It seems like something that belongs in the other guys, aim for the bushes, So anyway, that was good stuff. But do you guys have nitpicks or other quotes from the movie? Because I had one nitpick. So one that bothered me was when they go to investigate for Monday, they're there at work and she's like, where did I go last night? And what was I saying or something? And then like her coworker's like, you went to your favorite place, to the bar. And it's like, do you not remember what happened to you? And like, no follow-up questions, not like, are you feeling okay? Is everything, like, didn't even bother to ask. And I'm like, this bimbo, like, no idea what's going on with her boss's life. And not at all concerned. Because even the doorman shows more interest about her, and he's like, "Hey, you said this, or oh, you puked last night in
He
the
got
flower pot."
wrecked.
Mhm.
So I just thought it was funny that her coworker, her secretary or whatever at work, she's just like, "Oh, you went to your favorite place. Do you not remember?" Like, just no concern.
Honestly,
No,
guys, I know you're not part of that world, but it's not unusual for people that go out partying to not remember anything. And then go back and ask people, what happened last night? How did I get here? Why am I outside? This and that. So, to her
woke up
defense,
with the
she,
sprinklers turned on. It's not your
yeah,
house.
she
Where'd you go
was a
wrong? Right?
bimbo, but, you know, it wasn't too concerning because she probably goes out and parties all the time too. Or not. Who knows? It doesn't matter.
And adding to that frantic
Arguably.
fight scene, I wrote here, she like shrieks twice or something
Oh
when she's
yeah.
fighting. I like that. She picks up the iron and the frying pan and is hitting the guy. And she's just like shrieking.
Yeah, I like her yells. They're great.
Yeah, her yell was good. And again, that's part of the fighting, the action, right? It was palpable, and she was going for it. I just thought that was good. But yeah, all the good days, man. There were
Yeah, I think my
days
only
were
gripe.
dropping.
I think my only gripe would be kind of similar to what you guys have mentioned. Just I mean, I wish it could have gotten more William Dafoe, but I think budget.
More Willem Dafoe.
I think just
Yeah.
budget wise, they probably couldn't afford
Yeah.
him for like to be involved very long.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe's awesome.
Because I also would have loved him as like in Glenn Close's role or anything like in the corporate. I thought he would be really good. Just like, oh, we'll put him to sleep.
Yeah.
Just like
I don't
really
know. How do you
goofy.
guys feel about her getting shot out of the air and then landing and then getting shot again and falling? I don't know. Like for some reason, I kind of wanted her to like nearly like I don't know, almost make the jump, and she's hanging on the edge. She's like, I made it, and then the guy shows up and shoots her. For some reason, like the guy appearing out of nowhere and then shooting her mid jump. I don't know why. It just cheapened it a little bit for me. Like I almost liked
Nah, I
it
like
if they
it.
would have given it to you a little bit more, and it's like, oh, she made it. She made this impossible jump, but then just to get cruelly shot. I don't know. I just thought that would have been a
No, that
big
was another
rug
I
pull.
wanted it
surprise.
to be more tragic.
Yeah, yeah, I
Because like
did.
I didn't feel enough sorrow and disappointment.
Yeah. No, I mean that's the thing because it could have prepared you for the final setup where they're telling you everyone's fine, but they're just cremating everybody. Well, they inject him with something. It's supposed to help with the pain, but all the kids are screaming. So I mean, I don't know what's the point of the shot then. Like it does nothing for pain, or maybe it does, but you like know you're burning alive. I don't
They're
know.
like, don't waste the good stuff on the kids.
I know, right?
was-
They just give them a placebo shot and they think they're gonna go to sleep now, and then they go in and they're like, "Wait, what's that? What's all
That
this?"
one, I don't know. That one girl wasn't screaming. She got the shot, and
I
then
think it was just the
she
lady
fell
that got
asleep.
pushed into it.
Yeah,
Ty.
the lady that got pushed in.
She was
That
screaming.
shot's probably like, what do they call that stuff? Propofol or whatever. Just like they give to death row inmate people. They just puts you to sleep and then they just burn you.
Yikes!
Like an air fryer and chicken nuggets.
It cooks faster too, dude. It's great.
I was saying.
One thing I did have a question about. This is my nitpick. So, say the roles were reversed. Basically, a twin sister has relations with a guy that her sister was because she gets there and she's like, "Oh, I've never," and then it's like, "I'm gonna be with him now, and it's wonderful." And I'm like, again, I guess it's because we find out Monday's a bad person that it's justified that she's with her boyfriend. Anyway, I'm just imagining this scenario. Hear me out. Like if the roles were reversed, if this was 7 guys and there was a gal, and it's like I'm gonna with my brother's girlfriend proposing as myself. Like we all agree that's a pretty crappy thing to do. So I'm just
Well,
saying
I think it's weird regardless.
it is weird
I
regardless.
just think
Yes.
I just think it's just like because of the circumstances, it was like sort of okay because it was just like
Yeah, definitely. It was the least of their worries.
yeah exactly. It's
on.
like, oh no, we ruined our relationship. We all might freaking get cremated tomorrow. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting because either way, I was like, this is pretty messed up, right? Anyway,
I guess I
just thought
didn't
it was
even
messed
think
up.
about
The whole
that.
situation is pretty messed up. So,
Right.
because
But guys,
literally,
they didn't
imagine.
suffer. It's
Well,
okay.
you know, but
They
but I
didn't
just
suffer.
I love like an overarching theme of just like imagine you only get one day a week and you can't even be yourself because you have to basically go through life like a robot because if you act out of
Yeah.
the whack or just do something that's only personal to you, suddenly the next person that goes out won't remember or know about that, like relationship or anything like that.
Right.
And
And I guess was it Monday pretty much pulling the strings and becoming the baker, I guess, right? It's like, I want to be a banker. We're all a banker now. Yay.
Well, I think
Oh,
William Dafoe said that we're going to select a major or
yeah,
select like a
that works for
career that
everybody.
works and balances out everyone's talents the best.
Thank you for explaining all these things to me that I wildly forgot. Like, I just slipped my mind, I guess. And it's funny that you say that now, because I'm like, yeah, I definitely agree. I think Willem Dafoe was great. Like I mentioned the scene where the skater, she's like a skater and she goes out and sneaks out. And I remember thinking like there's going to be this sequence where we see her experiencing the world different. And then it's like, no, like the next scene, she's knocking on the door. She's back home and she's got her hand wrapped in like a bandage. They pull out the bandage. Her finger is hanging by a fetching string of flesh strand. It's
Yeah,
disgusting.
that's
And I'm like,
It
mm.
you
reminded me
did
of,
this how? Skateboarding? I've seen a lot of skateboarders and like none of them had an injury like that. What on earth was she doing? And where, like in this dystopian future, you can't even go anywhere. So where on earth did she get an injury like that skateboarding? Anyway, that was nuts. But I get it that it was mangled to the
Maybe
point
she was
where
playing the game where you like stab the knife, with some friends.
yeah.
Mm.
What do they call that? Chicken or whatever? Yeah, it's not chicken, but yeah, you're stabbing knives between your fingers. I'm just surprised is all. It's like no teen girls ever lost her finger skateboard. Maybe they have. I don't know. It's crazy to me. All I can think of is maybe it got stuck in the wheel of her
Okay, all right.
skateboard. I know, but it's disgusting. But you have to think about it because I'm like, what happened? We didn't hear what happened. It's just
or
like
you don't have to think about it.
you have to think about it, and I
You
love
put
it
a lot of
because
emphasis on it.
they did. It was a whole thing because obviously then he's like, okay, be mad at your sister. When you hurt yourself, you hurt all of you. What happens to one of you happens to all of you. And so
So
anyway,
see again, it just seems like you wish there was more. An extra 2 hours. There we go. That's what we
yeah,
need.
probably another 2 hours. No, overall, like I said, maybe I was just tired. Maybe because I thought it was a show, then I found it was a movie. It just it's too much emotional tugging at the heartstrings.
Would you recommend it though, Ty, is the question? Because I
You
have
know,
many times.
I
yeah,
definitely recommend.
like I think this is a pretty easy, accessible movie for most people. Like as far as dystopian movies go, it's got some
And
fun
you only have to
twists.
skip
It's
like
good
one scene.
character. It's got some good character.
What scene? You need to skip.
and
Just the
it
scene that
feels
Ty was
like
talking about earlier.
yeah,
Yeah.
the sisters maybe I don't know.
Yeah, but she looks really good with that lighter hair. Oh.
Saturday, yeah.
Nick
Is that
had
what
a
it is?
favorite.
Saturday?
Yeah,
I
Saturday's
thought
the
that was
blonde.
Thursday.
Nick was preoccupied with other things
I
than
don't
their
know which
names
day,
and their
but
personalities.
whoever that day was, she was hot.
Nick's like, that's what I love about you, Saturday. You got a personality. But what about you guys? Do you guys recommend this movie?
Weird, so
Definitely.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get into what we've seen.
Get into what we've seen. Nick, what have you seen lately? What are you looking forward to seeing?
I've seen this lately.
3 times apparently.
I know. I don't know how you get
I
time
saw
to
it
Well,
3
watch
times,
this.
but over the course of years.
I didn't make it the first time or even the second time. I didn't make it the whole time or the third time. I have a low attention span, okay? And you're right, 2 hours is a long time. I had to pause it a couple of times, go do something else. What did I see earlier? I saw. Remember, I was telling Jordan about that. The
Knock at the
knock
Cabin.
at the
Yeah.
knock at the cabin. That was really good, man. I liked that movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
By M. Night. Yeah. And Jordan was so resistant to watching. He was like,
I
"All right,
was.
it's gonna be crap. It's gonna suck." And I'm like, "I don't think so, man, because I think it's okay. It's definitely gets you thinking. I mean, you kind of. I mean, I don't know.
As
There's
long
just
as they
like,
keep limiting his budget, I think we're going to be okay with M. Night Shyamalan
yeah,
movies going forward.
yeah. So that one was pretty good. And that's really all that's of note. Other than that, I just kind of watch Family Guy and cartoon.
Nick, I've actually just started watching Family Guy with my wife, and she loves it.
Does she?
Yeah.
I went back to some of the original episodes. They're almost kind of hard to watch because they're so like,
Outdated?
yeah, just like it doesn't
Oh.
even. It's not full screen, not HD. I'm just like,
Oh.
oh, it looks like
But those are the
crap.
best jokes,
I
though.
know, I know.
Yeah.
They are the best jokes. It's just sometimes it's hard to watch.
Oh my gosh. See, Nick likes 28 weeks later type better only because the quality is better than 28 days.
No,
I
I get it. The quality
I-
it's distracting at times.
It
It's
is
It's the same
I
way.
can't see
distracting.
what's going
It
on
hurts
there.
my eyes. I'm serious. It
Yeah.
does. Especially movies. That's why I can't watch movies where people are just moving around in their phone or their camera. I'm just like bouncing around. I'm like, I can't. I have to
You don't like
stop.
the found footage, Nick? You don't like the
No, none of that.
cam?
None of that. Like from that perspective, like a perspective of you looking through a little video camera or your phone. No.
Well, and Nick loves Uncut Gems. I thought for sure he would like Good Time Tie, but he's like, oh, it's all so close. He's like, back it up. I can't see anything.
Wow.
Claustrophobic, yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, thanks for sharing, Nick. I love it. Cameron, what
Cameron?
else?
So I watched the better version of Knock at the Cabin. I watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Okay, that is
Oh
a,
yeah.
Um,
I
Is
forgot
that your
about
first
one.
time watching it?
Yeah, man, was it a palate cleanser after watching so many masterpieces? I was like, what was the budget for this film? $15?
that was a good
Yeah,
movie.
it's terrible but so funny.
Mm.
I rewound multiple parts. I give it a 6 out of 10, but like I cried laughing at the scene where the kid dives into the wood chipper. I was literally dying because you see him run and go. It's like no attempt to tackle Tucker, just straight into it. I was like, what the fudge? Um, it was really funny. I also watched Blue Valentine, and
Whoa, that one's rough.
how
That is sad.
it made my top 100, but it's extremely depressing.
That is so
And I mean,
depressing.
Ryan Gosling
Is it
and what's her
sadder than Manchester by the Sea?
it's
The
funny because
same girl.
in my letterbox review, yeah, well, it is the same girl. I said this movie reminds me of it's Michelle Williams. I was like, this movie reminds me of Manchester by the Sea. It's just essentially and like the editing in it and just like the way that like the formatting of the story and the pacing is just like it ends so depressingly because it's just
Mhm.
like their happiest moment in their marriage is also like it's like 2 minutes before like the saddest moment in their marriage, and you're just like, oh my gosh. I was like, do I believe in love? And then I also watched 500 Days of Summer. I showed Drew and Colton, my roommates, because they hadn't seen it. It's still a
And
masterpiece.
what did they
every
think?
single
I'm
time.
curious.
Yeah, what did they think of
They
it?
really liked it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you're young enough yet you can enjoy it. Then get older and you'll be like, yeah.
and
I still like
then
it, Cameron. I like that movie.
Yeah, it's good.
I showed Jake Whiplash because he hadn't seen that.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, I think it's my third time.
what are you looking? What are you looking down there for? A Mars bar?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my
McDonald's
gosh.
Happy Meal?
Scary.
McDonald's
He's
Happy Meal.
just watching that has made me excited for Invincible season 2
Yes,
Oh,
dude.
excited.
Guys,
So
did you
excited.
watch the?
No, I
trailer.
don't want to watch the trailer. Nothing. I just
No,
want
no,
to
no,
watch
no,
it.
no, 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 no. It's Adam Eve. Her little story. It's
Oh
an
no.
awesome episode.
Oh,
It's
good.
one episode long. It's an hour long,
And
and it
it's
kind of gives
on.
her a little bit backstory, like her story between like Invincible and stuff. But I was like, at first, I was like, am I gonna? I was like, yeah, heck yes, like let's
Wow.
go. I'm excited.
Oh,
So
good. I'll
watch
have to
it.
check it out.
It's an
Okay.
hour long and it's one episode, but it's technically they call it like a prequel, but it still says episode 1 or 201 or whatever it is. But it's stellar.
Okay.
Very much liked it. Adam Eve
And
story
then
was
and then I also and Whiplash obviously is a 10 out of 10, as well as 500 Days of Summer. And then Blue Valentine I gave a 9 out of 10. It's amazing. It's just also, yeah, I don't know. There's just it's so heavy. Then I watched Batman Under the Red Hood. I showed Josh because he hadn't seen it, and it's amazing every single time. I gave it 8 out of 10. And then
That was a good one.
and then yesterday I had like one of the most like depressing, heaviest what do you call it, back to back. I watched Brokeback Mountain finally.
What?
Um
Why?
He's
because I
trying to
have to
watch
watch
all.
all, and man, the performances are insane. And
Was it Cameron?
yes, it was a film about two
Curious.
cowboys.
Oh,
But
it's about two cowboys. I was just curious if it
and
was a movie.
I think it's just so interesting. It was like it's such a cool perspective to see kind of like the sad and tragic life that you would live as a, especially in a culture like cowboys, and just kind of that redneck culture is like so unapologetic and like unaccepting towards like people of different. So it was really, yeah, it was insane. I give it 8 out of 10. I don't know if I'd ever watch it again because it's one of the most depressing like.
And now that Cameron's been
scenes
married,
go.
to women, he might try out this time, right?
Oh my gosh.
I
And
don't know. It
then
almost sounds like
maybe
it.
maybe give it a spin. Yeah.
and,
Gave it
and
an 8 out of
Nick's
10.
listening.
I don't
8
know.
out of
That's
10,
almost
Nick's
higher
listening.
than what Gabe gave it, and Gabe was so. Remember Gabe loved
Yes,
that
Gabe
movie.
loves that movie.
Oh, Gabe
um
loved.
and then I also
You don't suppose Gabe was?
Gabe, who knows? Probably.
Who knows, right? I haven't seen him lately. I just was curious if anyone knew. You're like, dude,
Anyway.
he's happily married to.
Anyway, after I watched Brokeback Mountain, I watched Gone Girl. I showed Drew and Colton. I was really scared.
And
This was a movie-
after 10 minutes of Gone Girl, I went back to Brokeback Mountain. Watched this
Yeah,
movie.
right.
yeah, I was really scared because this movie was in my top like 35, and it was a perfect film for me, and I was really scared to rewatch it just because like the first half, like there's a lot of suspense, not knowing what's going on, and I was like, how well does it hold up?
Yeah, knowing that.
Rewatching
Yeah.
it, and oh my gosh, I liked it even more, and I realized that like the
Really?
first half isn't even the gripping part, like, and it was interesting because Drew and Colton both said that the second half was their favorite part. It was like once because then, and that's what I realized. The reason I liked it wasn't because it was like, oh, a mystery, because I'm like, mystery movies I think are interesting, but it's because it's about a sociopath, and I just love anything with serial killers or sociopaths. Just seeing like their ideology and their like, I don't know, the philosophies that's in her brain. Like I love how she's so manipulative, but she's just like, I did this for us. Like I've killed for you. Who else can say this? I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Do
I'm
you like
that's
it better then? Because I actually like it less and less on rewatch. I've seen it 3 times now.
I think it's better.
Oh,
Interesting.
I like his other
for the
movies
same
get
reason I haven't
better.
rewatched it. Yeah, I worried that
See, I would
those
rewatch.
movies benefit.
I would
from the
rewatch
first
Gone
time
Girl
viewing.
like 10
Yeah.
times in a row before I'd rewatch Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Oh, really? That one gets better on rewatch for me.
See, Girl with
interesting.
Dragon Tattoo is just way too much for me.
Yeah,
And
I don't
see,
know
like
if I would
the middle
rewatch that
hour
one.
of Girl with Dragon Tattoo, it's a perfect film. But then the hour before and the hour after hurts my soul. So that's why
I love it.
Because that's why for me, Gone Girl, you skip like the one traumatic scene, and then for me the rest is like more tame for a
Wait, you
day.
didn't like the ending of Girl with Dragon Tattoo? You have Stellar Skarsgård or Bill Skarsgård being a serial. You didn't like that?
No, that's the middle hour, and that's what I loved.
Oh, that was the middle hour. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I thought that was the end.
Yeah,
I thought that was the ending of the movie.
and then the first hour is like her getting, and then her, and I was like, oh, and then the last hour is just like the randomest relationship, and just felt like the movie like should have already finished, and it just kept continuing, and I was like, interesting. But yeah, so then gonna watch Memento sometime this week with Drew and Colton because they haven't seen it, so I'm really excited to show them that. And then also Colton really wants me to watch Past Lives, which I'm pretty excited because he said it's like extremely depressing. So I'm a big fan for depressing movies. Also looking forward to Blue Beetle. I would love to see that in theaters. My expectations are that it'll be garbage because DC always lets me down. So I'm gonna go in with garbage expectations, and then I'll probably be unsatisfied still.
Any DC that wasn't directed by Nolan, yes, I agree.
Yeah, true.
Although I don't know. Then again, I haven't rewatched Man of Steel.
The Suicide Squad is the best thing that's come out since The Dark Knight.
I agree.
True.
Yeah,
Good point.
I agree. Yeah.
So, but besides that, it's just like, hey, all you have to do is copy and paste all these amazing cartoon animated shows that you have. And it's like,
I know.
Or
I don't understand. It's like not a lot of people have seen
you
them, and they're great
or comic
stories.
books. I'm like, you go read a comic book, you
read a
get an
comic
amazing
book.
cast like you already do, and you just copy and paste. I'm
I
like, you
know.
don't have to do anything.
And
they're
maybe
like,
they'll be like,
we'll
oh,
make
like
some
just
creative liberties. And I'm like, or you'll ruin it like you always do.
It's the same thing with The Walking Dead. They're like, oh no, we caught up to where Robert Kirkman is, and they're like, no, we're out of ideas in the show. Just
Wait, can
the
I go?
best things they pointed to in the show were less expertly handled than the comic book did. I was just like,
Are you ready
all
with
right.
your list, Ty, or can I go?
Yeah, I'm ready, or you can go. You should go.
Okay, really quick. All right, so I took Ty's recommendation, The Pope's Exorcist, and
Pope's Exorcist.
I love
Nick, I think you might enjoy this. It's Russell Crowe.
Russell
I
Crowe.
know, but I don't watch Exorcist
He
demon
doesn't
movies.
like
Are you
no,
the same
yeah.
thing? Yeah, Cameron doesn't either. So I was just curious.
And I
but
watched it as a
Good
kid,
man,
the
Nick.
original.
Good man.
Can't do it.
But Russell
Yeah.
Crowe's performance was mwah.
I
It was
know,
so
I've
funny.
seen it.
He is so
I
funny.
want to, but I know it will screw me up. I'll have nightmares for months.
You might just want to look up, just look up like the Pope, Russell Crowe Pope being interrogated by the Vatican. That's my favorite scene of the whole movie. So you may want to just watch that because he goes, "What are you bringing me here for?" Like, it's so awesome. Russell
Yeah.
Crowe's like, he's like, "What is this? Like, you
If Ty
guys are
was
all
an
here questioning
exorcist,
me."
I
Yeah.
pictured you as Russell Crowe. Very
Dude,
funny.
Russell Crowe steadily is becoming like one of my favorite actors. He's just
After
consistently
Unhinged
like,
and this,
yeah, after Unhinged, he's just kind of like, dude, whatever. He's going for
I
it.
love
He's kind
when
of like
he's
Nick
going for
Cage
it.
almost in a way.
Yeah.
He's
And
aging
then
like fine wine.
Cameron's friend recommended Phantom Thread, which I enjoyed more than Licorice Pizza. It's pretty similar, just like very dysfunctional relationships. And but
Daniel
also
Day-Lewis, and was that Paul
yeah,
Thomas Anderson that did that one?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But Daniel Day-Lewis, holy crap, that guy he's
He
whack.
never, he's
Never
an alien,
disappoints.
dude.
And then
Hey,
Ty's
Better than
Wow.
Joaquin Phoenix. I'm
Amy.
gonna say it. Stack up against Joaquin Phoenix. He's a better actor than Joaquin. Has anyone even bothered to go watch The Joker again?
It's perfect.
It's
It's
really
literally
good,
a perfect film.
I tried to
Uh,
watch it. No, couldn't rewatch it.
And then I took Ty's
Uncultured
recommendation to watch Arctic. Loved it, dude. Mads
Mads Mik-
Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen's so
Mads.
good.
He's
Cameron,
so
watch
good.
Arctic. It's a good one.
I've already seen it.
Oh, you already
Yeah.
seen it.
I was the last one that hadn't seen it yet.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah, so
great.
thank you for recommending that. And then Cameron, I convinced Tatiana to watch her and Lost in Translation. I texted you about that, but we did a double feature back to back because it was really fun knowing that like both directors wrote a story about their romance and breakups
And their perspective on the divorce.
on the
Super cool.
divorce. It's really cool. So Sofia Coppola and then I forget his name, Spike Jonze. So it's just really cool to see their
And of course, the guy made the better film. What?
oh jeez. And then we watched She's the Man, which honestly I still love and I think it still holds up. And
It's
then
so good.
Funny movie.
I finished second season of AP Bio, third season. I tried again. I can never get through it. It's just so bad. So first two seasons amazing. And then I got on the Candyman binge and I've watched the second and third movie. Second one I really enjoyed, third one as garbage. And then Quarantine 2. The beginning starts out strong and then just progressively gets worse as the movie goes on.
Oh, but just watch Wreck 1 and 2. Those are
I know
such
that,
better.
but and of course they are, but
Yeah.
I just love zombie movies. So.
Of course.
Of course.
Well, then why are you watching Quarantine?
Because I remember enjoying it, so I went back and watched it. I'm like, oh
Oh.
geez, they don't hold up.
No, you remember enjoying Wreck. Quarantine was never
Wreck
good,
is
dude.
amazing.
Very few zombie movies hold up.
Whoa, I'd take it that bad.
I would
Okay,
say,
so-
Cameron, do
Oh,
you watch zombie movies? Have you seen Wreck though, Cameron?
I don't like zombie
No,
movies.
that
I
one's
think
that's
okay.
borderline
laziest
demonic.
genre ever.
It's true. It is borderline
yeah,
demonic. It's pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also watched Satanic Panic, which is actually a fun. Actually, the first half is really fun.
Did you say
Oh,
Satanic Panic was
But
fun?
it's the documentary, right? About the whole
Oh no,
80s scare.
I watched that one too. That's different. That's like
There's like it's like a documentary about like everyone's sycophantic obsession with like, yo, Satan's everywhere, you know?
yeah,
Like,
and
yeah.
they're worried about it. Yeah, that was an interesting documentary. But no, this one's
Yeah.
actually just a movie with interesting characters. Like I said, everything good up until that ending. I don't know. I was hoping for a little bit more gore. And then I also love.
so I was hoping for a little more gore.
Well, they had one amazing like head chop, and a girl's head goes flying, and then everybody else just goes, oh, and then just fall over. I'm like, boo! You had
More
so many
flying heads.
You had so many good deaths up till that point. And then the last one is The Passenger, recommended by Red Letter Media. Ty and Cameron, you guys are gonna really like it.
I'm watching that tonight for sure.
Cameron, you're gonna like it. So
For sure. Well, it's quite in a list, my friend. Are
Sorry,
you guys
yeah.
looking for anything?
well, the what you recommended, Ty, the side story about the superhero girl. What's that called?
Oh yeah. Adam
Invincible?
Eve. Invincible. Look on Prime. There's a whole. It's like an hour long.
I saw it, but then the boys did the same thing. They did a spin-off cartoon series, and I was just like,
Not spinoff. Again, this is still like Adam Eve's story right before we even meet her. Because and actually it's really funny because I don't want to spoil anything, but you get to meet Adam and Eve's
Don't
parents
spoil.
again. That's all. I'm just gonna say you get to see her parents again, which are like low key some of my favorite
Oh, they
characters.
were the worst. Those
You need to
both-
forgive your boyfriend.
They were the worst.
That dad
And-
was so
Oh,
funny.
so watch this
Love him.
episode because
Love him.
they're in it. So that's all I'll say
Oh,
about
good.
it. So
Okay.
yeah, definitely watch it. And I'm just like, yes, I could watch so much more of this.
What,
So
what have you
anyway,
seen, Ty?
so I watched the Adam and Eve or Adam Eve's backstory, which is Invincible kind of thing. It's like a prequel to the season, and it's kind of cool. It gives her kind of made me feel like I was watching Across the Spider-Verse in a way, where you're watching
Gwen.
Gwen's backstory.
Careful
Thank you.
comparing that to Cameron's.
Well, no, I mean like
Settle
in the
down.
fact that like
It's
Spider-Man
like Jordan, the way
across-
Jordan whips around the word Zodiac.
No, I guess so.
Zodiac.
All I was saying, I'm not saying it's anything like. I mean, obviously they're both
Cameron,
superhero movies, but
I was gonna
Adam
compare.
Eve's story carries this emotional weight that gives her more complexity and kind of recontextualizes her part to play in Invincible.
Cool.
So I enjoyed that, and it just made me think of Across the Spider-Verse, where before we kind of got a glimpse into Gwen Stacy's backstory, and then the second
Across the
movie kind
Spider-Verse,
of expounded on that. So I like that.
for sure.
I would
What
really
movie
quick.
did
I
you
was
think
just
I
gonna.
was like,
I was
Zodiac?
gonna compare Cameron the Passengers movie to
Oh.
the Nightcrawler, but I restrained because I'm like, Cameron's gonna watch it and be like, it's not this good. And then I was also, one of the characters actually wearing a Donnie Darko shirt, so I'm like, I just
No
didn't want-
way.
I
That's
just didn't,
awesome.
I didn't want to like tell you that because then you'd be like, wait, this is
Cameron's
not-
like, oh, worth seeing now. Yeah. It's got a
Oh, he's got
Darko
Donnie in
shirt.
there.
Yeah, you got a Donnie Darko fan.
yeah.
Your movie could be like Cool Cat, and I'd still go watch it if it had
Well,
a Donnie Darko t-shirt.
And the character is actually dressed up just like the character from Fight Club. Brad
I really
Pitt.
want to dress up as Frank the Bunny some year for Halloween.
Yes, do it.
Oh
Do
my
it.
gosh, no, so creepy.
That's
So
awesome.
I watched Pulp Fiction, Tarantino's movie, and it's funny because I'm really glad I
Second
rewatched
time
it
or third?
because this is my fourth, maybe fifth time
Okay.
watching the movie, and I will say that I
curious how it
am
holds up.
glad that the movie doesn't hold a hold on me as much as it used to. I definitely like Inglourious and like Django and
Kill Bill, the one you always talk about.
Kill.
is
Yeah, Kill Bill.
best.
Thank you. I was like, what's the other
easily
movie?
Quentin's worst, if not second worst.
Yeah, so Pulp Fiction, because I remember like I know a lot of people are like that's like a perfect film, and while I enjoy it, and I think John Travolta and Samuel Jackson, those two are the crux of that movie, and I'd say even Bruce Willis rather, those three
speak it.
really carry that movie because without them, like they're the whole energy of the movie, but even then, like rewatching it, it's not my favorite. Like I'd much rather be watching Kill Bill or Inglourious or Django again rather than Pulp Fiction, which I thought was interesting. But anyway,
Or Death Proof.
no, yeah, so it's gonna fall down with that. It's definitely above.
Proof is so average.
Yeah, it's
I
above
love
Death
Death
Proof.
Proof.
It's above Jackie Brown, and it's probably above
You and Kurt Russell,
Hateful
dude.
Eight. Definitely above Hateful Eight, but yeah, it's like right there, right in the middle, which is weird because I understand a lot of it I really do like, but like one of my favorite scenes is just like tragically where Uma Thurman's overdosing or what do you call it, ODing, and that whole sequence where he opens his shade on his door and like I'm flying across the lawn and he's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, no, you can't bring her to my house. And then like he's like, I need the nurse's book, the medical book. It tells me how to administer.
Dude,
It was really
I watch
funny.
interviews back in the day. There's people fainting in the theater at that stuff. It's just
Oh,
so funny
really?
how far
Yeah.
we've come in movies. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I know,
so
right?
much worse.
Tarantino's like, it's just fun, it's all for
Yeah,
fun.
and then him
So.
flipping off his audience when he got the Oscar for it.
Dude, okay, look this up, guys. They made a stink about Tarantino getting the Oscar for
Yeah.
like screenplay or something or director.
Yeah.
He flips the bird. He's like, hey, whatever, man. Like at the Oscars. I'm just saying. And again, mind you, like nowadays, if you saw that, you'd be like, whatever. But like back in like early 2000s or like late 90s or something, crazy stuff. That's all I'm saying. So
it's funny.
anyway, so that's super bro, man. That's mad respect. And then I watched I'm not actually a big fan of Bo Burnham's, but I really liked his 8th grade movie.
Mhm.
So I saw that he had a comedy special and I watched it. It's called What? And it's like a musical meta stand-up special, and it was all over the place. And it was definitely the most meta comedy special I've ever seen. So if you like musicals, if you like guys making like funny songs and yeah, that's for you. But like for me, I was like, wow, I've just never seen something like that. It was definitely unique and had me thinking about it after I watched it. So made me want to watch his. I think he made one during
Yeah, he
COVID.
did. Inside
Inside,
Joke.
and I didn't
Yeah.
see that one, and that one made me kind of actually want to watch
Oh,
that one
really?
too
You
because
had seen that one or hadn't?
I haven't seen Inside,
I
but
have
I
seen it.
watched this one. And if you like that, I'm sure this one's probably similar. But I never knew his brand of humor. I've just heard of him, and I liked his eighth grade movie, so that's pretty much all I have to go on.
Yeah.
Never really followed
It's
him.
just like what you were describing. It's all over the place.
Yeah, it's very unique, but I almost feel like a tortured. He's probably a very tortured artist. Bless his heart. Like he tries really hard. He's like constantly playing the piano. It almost feels like you're watching someone having a nervous breakdown. Like I know that sounds weird, but like that's what it felt like the whole time. And
You're not
kind
talking
of
about
reminded me.
Whiplash?
Yeah, I mean, it almost was heartbreaking, but I enjoyed it. But I'm also like, yeah, this is like someone get this kid some help, give him a puppy, give him a therapy dog or something. Um, anyway, so I watched that, and then I watched Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers extended. I found out like just the other day, my wife has never seen the extended versions of the Lord of the Rings movie, so it's like, what are we doing with our
That's
lives?
so funny. We're watching them right now too. Maybe it's because
Yeah,
Dad's been pushing on the TV show onto everybody.
I know. I don't know what his
Everyone's
deal
like,
is.
instead of watching that, I'll
Yeah,
watch the
instead of
actual
watching
good.
Lord of the Rings, go watch Rings of Power. And Dad's like, it's amazing. And I'm like, no, it's absolute hot garbage. I don't know. Love you, Dad, but the Rings of Power is absolutely awful. But anyway, so Lord of the Rings and the Two Towers, awesome. Rewatching it. Battle of Helm's Deep is probably one of the greatest battle sequences of all time. Um, you have characters like, you know, Aragorn played by Viggo Mortensen, just so cool. Like, just a guy you're like, dude, I wish I was half as cool as he is, like
That could have been Nick Cage at one point.
stop. Anyway,
Bless it wasn't.
yeah.
Mm.
But anyway, what I'm looking forward to is seeing the stranger. What's it called? The stranger hiker,
The
hitchhiker,
Passenger.
the
The
passenger.
one where you're like, Chris Pratt, no, thank you.
Okay, I literally thought you said the passenger or passengers or something like that because you texted me that, and I was like, "That's the movie with
Chris
Chris
Pratt.
Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence." I'm no desire to see it, even if Red Leatherby's talking about it. I'll watch it for the humor. I'm sure. I don't know why they'd be reviewing it now, but yeah. But no,
The
some small
Passenger.
indie film. It almost looks like Pedro Pascal, but it's not him, right?
No,
Oh, okay, it's somebody else. The poster almost made me think that was Pedro.
That's
but
funny. It
anyway.
does look like him. No,
Right? It does. Yeah, it kind of looks
no,
like
his
the
name is Kyle Gallner.
going there. Well, I'm excited. I love indie films. I seriously can't stand half the garbage that's coming out these days. And so, one last thought I wanted to throw out here. This has been something that's been bothering me.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm kidding. I was just gonna rant on like the whole thing with the new Snow White coming out. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or any of this
Don't
stuff.
care.
No, we don't
One
care. I'm not gonna watch it.
No, I'm not gonna watch it either. But what I thought was so sad is all these actors, like even Gal Gadot and Rachel Ziegler or whatever, Ziegler, right? I think that's her name. Don't remember her name.
care.
But anyway, this Colombian, she's playing Snow White. And what I found really, really funny is like they're just taking a dump all over this property. And I was like, I mean, like the Disney property, the Snow White movie. I'm like, this is like literally what gave Disney this was like its foundation. It was its inception. It's like it's technically its first full length feature film. And they're just dumping all over it. They're like, oh, it's outdated, it's awful, it's not good. And I'm like, how about like just one modicum of like respect or even just like gratitude, being like, I'm so grateful I get to play Snow White like that. And we're doing our spin on it and we hope we can do it justice. But instead they're like, the old version's awful. And I'm like, dude, people that were so much more creative and talented than you made this film. And like, I love the old Snow White and you watch it, it's like a horror movie first. Anyway, one thing that bothered me is they're going to be changing the fairest one of all to like Fairest, like the most beautiful and fair to, or excuse me, like like
They're
fair,
changing
and
it
they're
from
gonna
most beautiful to most like just.
to most just. Which okay, so get this. It's funny because I'm like Gal Gadot shouldn't be the queen because there's no other Snow White that could be, by beauty standards, traditional beauty standards, that could beat Gal Gadot in appearances. But what I found so funny about this, like they're changing it to that because, of course, with today's beauty standards, it's like inner beauty matters most. But one thing that bothers me is like when I understood the fairy tale, and maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, it's not only skin deep. Like Snow White was beautiful because she was kind and loving and tender, even softened Grumpy's heart, which is like the whole emotional crux of the movie. Grumpy doesn't like anyone, ends up loving Snow White, right?
Yeah.
She wins him over. But what upsets me is like she was beautiful because of the inside, not just the outside. And so that's why the queen, literally, beauty really matters to her a lot. She ends up embodying this ugly, decrepit old witch because it's an outward manifestation of her internal character, right? That's how I understood the movie. But like apparently it's like, no, we should change it because beauty standards. I'm like,
I don't know. I was like 6
ladies,
when I watched it, so I didn't.
I know, but it's been bothering me to no end because it's like, have you ever heard of a metaphor, an allegory, or a symbolism? Like, folks, like the interview, she
The
was
writers at Disney,
fairest of them
you're
all
asking
because
a little much, okay?
I'm just saying, good luck, Disney.
You're implying
I've
that they
seen,
know how to read and write, which
yeah, it's true.
asking a whole lot of them.
I'm expecting a lot from our,
They
from
can
our
barely
Hollywood
copy and paste the
brothers.
old stories and make it live action. They're like
Yeah.
the writers of DC, a bunch of freaking monkey brains.
I'm just saying, I'm amazed that no one has bothered to coach him through this stuff. Like even me, PR, like you don't just take a dump over your previous property and hope to sell more tickets. Like you already want to, like, what do you call it? You're literally like spitting in the face of people that probably would be willing to give your movie a chance. You're just spitting in their eye, like, you like this garbage. Well, we're making it way better. And you're like, good luck. Because I'm not going to buy a ticket to find out. And I'm not going to waste my time to find out. But anyway, I just found that very fascinating. And that was something that I had to get off my chest because I thought about it over and over. And I'm like, isn't that a beautiful tale though? Snow White is fair and beautiful, not only because of her looks, but because she's a good character. And then the witch literally or like the queen literally embodies a witch at the end. And like, because she wanted Snow White's heart in a box. She wanted to kill Snow White. She tries to poison her. Like she ends up becoming ugly as she is on the outside as her character on the inside. That's how I
just reminded me of
blows my mind.
The SpongeBob episode where he's like, I gotta get this off my chest, and there's like a thing sucking.
He's got the succulent his octopus. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because like I'm amazed. I'm baffled at like they have turned a $1 billion company. Like who wasn't excited for the next Disney Pixar movie? And now it's like I couldn't care less what Disney does. That's amazing. So folks, this news podcaster, what am I? I'm a movie podcaster, is baffled. I'm just speechless. Like that's crazy. Like this will go down in the history books as like,
You think he's news the way he talks about politics? Let's settle down.
no, well, I guess you could say it's political, but it's like it's really just like if let's say we were to remake a movie today.
No, we get it.
We want to show
Yeah,
some
man, we
sense of
gotta wrap
gratitude.
this up, man. My battery is about to die, and I don't have my charger.
I love you. I'm sorry for wasting your time. But anyway, that's something to think about. So next time you hear them, the fairest of them all, you guys will know it's me because I'm the most beautiful inside and out. Because I'm a narcissist and I think of myself that highly, and you should all too. So,
2% battery.
guys, I love you so much. Thanks for letting me spew that out. I had to get that out there because where else am I going to talk about it? This is a movie podcast for Pete's sake. You guys
I don't know
take
if
it
we
easy.
let you. I think you just we just let you roll with it. So.
But now you
I
guys
certainly didn't give you the approval to talk about whatever the crap you were talking about. I'm sorry.
Let's see. Now you guys are thinking, and you guys
Something
know I'm
about
not wrong.
Snow
You know
White.
I'm not wrong. I love you guys so much. Hey, this has been Future Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube. Our whole catalog is there. And what happened to Monday? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
That's what
Saturday,
we were
Sunday.
talking about again? Oh my gosh, it's been so long. I forgot.
Been a long time.